He got problems, she got problems, only I got 411 problems. Say hi, what's up, y'all? Welcome and welcome back to my channel. And welcome to another story time. And welcome to, I think I said I was going to do, for my mama. No, for her mama. For her mama. I think that's what I'm going to name it. I don't know. I think that's just going to be tentative right now. But anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so do, in the story time, the Sunday school secret, I was talking about three people in my Sunday school class who did not like me, and they were adopted family members, but adopted, because you know how sometimes people go through things in life, and sometimes you're just not prepared to be a mother, and they don't really, in all honesty, tell you how hard it is to be a parent. Like, they fantasize it, like they fantasize a lot of stuff, which is why a lot of women are going through a lot of situations where it's like you don't really have an idea of what you want, or like people are trying to tell people like you should be happy because you're doing this or because money is there. And I keep trying to tell people money does not make you happy. You can have everything in the world but no peace. If y'all did not learn, when we were going through the pandemic, and there were very wealthy people who were famous unaliving themselves because they had no peace when it came down to their mental state, because they could not fathom not being able to go outside and function. They staying in the house was something that was terrorizing them mentally, to be totally honest. Especially with it being the first time, like that is something that has happened to all of us the very first time, and it was something we all had to adjust, and we used the internet to cope and to communicate. Luckily for me, I was an essential worker, so I was able to leave the house, which worked for me, because I don't think me staying in the house would have worked. Like, um I like being at home, but I love the idea of I can get up and go as I please, not staying there all the time. So the fact that I was the essential worker gave me the ability to be able to leave and then come back, if that makes sense, and still be outside. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I miss it. I miss the fact that y'all were in the house and we were outside, because it was so quiet. There was no traffic. Like, it was a beautiful thing. Gas was cheaper because a lot of us was in the house and a lot of people wasn't using like gas. Now, the only thing about it was a lot of stuff was also overgrown, and there was a lot of deers in my area, so you had to be real careful with driving, because the deers was like, we outside. Yeah, so anyway, you have to be real careful when thinking, or our whole community, especially African American communities, we need to be, we need to learn to, we need to learn to unlearn. Real talk. So a lot of the things that people hear me say on my channel, especially when it comes down to Christianity, it's like, girl, and it's like, girl, we were raised by something that slave masters used to control us. We were not Christians. We were not Christians. Is there something wrong with you being Christians now? No, it's not. But the way that you use Christianity to judge people, to control people, to mock people, is the same way that your slave masters use it. That's my point. I love God. You don't love God? What's wrong with you? I know that there is a higher being. It's just the way that y'all use the Bible is the issue that I have when it comes down to Christianity. Because y'all can't stand gay people, and the man who collected the stories and has his name on the Bible, King James, love having sex with men. It's almost like, and I'm going off subject, but it kind of not. It's almost like the part in Django when the dentist asked him, what would Dumas say? if you were able to speak to him now, he started smiling. He said, Duma. And he had no idea that Duma was a black actor and you don't like black people. Yeah, I mean author, not actor. Author, and you don't like black people. Anyway, so yeah, that was my point. Anyway, like, looking at certain situations, because we've been fantasized so much about motherhood, which is why, again, you're seeing people who, not necessarily just in the public eye, you're seeing people like, this marriage is not what I thought it was gonna be. Marriage is hard. This is not where I want to be again. You know what I'm saying? Like, if your marriage is, I won't say perfect, but if you are working through it, you found your person, and I'm not talking to you. You know what I'm saying? And you work through it. Marriage is not bad. It's just the person who you marry. And then my thing is, if the marriage is flowing, fine. Like, this ain't even your conversation. My point is, to the people who fantasize marriage, you're in a marriage or relationship and you're pretending you're happy. You're just going along with it because you're afraid of what or how people will think if you walk away. Which this new couple with well, not new couple, but this new thing with Desmond and Christy, as I stated on my social media, baby, you will be fine. And I was talking to the people who were telling her to hold on to it, which she tried to, and he cheated. He told her, like, I don't want to be here no more. And y'all make it seem like, and their religion is Jehovah's Witness. And according to the Jehovah's Witness religion or laws, you can't divorce unless you are deceased or infidelity. And Buddy was like, baby, I'll be discommunicated or disfellowshipped so I can get up out of here, because I'm unhappy. And I like I said, I don't watch these people, so I don't watch these people. So to see a comment, who is the male, saying if your man is if your man is looking out the window staring and he not laughing, he not smiling about you, like he by himself thinking about something else, staring off into space because he's not happy, and he hasn't told you. And a lot of times men can't tell you. This is a whole different conversation, but I'm trying to make it flow. Men can't tell you that they're unhappy, but most of the time they do. They tell you the truth, and it's more like in a joking way, like they created a joke. If you're old enough and you watch Two Can Play That Game, he was telling her the truth about cheating on her. He just did it in a joking way. I had this big booty girl on the phone last night, and he was telling her the truth. He did, but he just told her in a joking way. A lot of times that I was telling one of the ladies that was on my Instagram, I was like, a lot of times women, we have tunnel vision. We have tunnel vision because we have been indoctrinated to fantasize this fantasy life of, you grow up, you go to school, you get a job. Once you get a job, you get married. After you get married, you have the kids, and then you have this perfect little life with a white fence. And that's not the truth. It's not the truth. They don't tell you how hard school is. Yeah, high school, you exceed. When you get to college, it's a whole different ball game, and I don't think they are really preparing you for it. You have to have the mentality that I want this, and it's gonna be a fight. Depending on your major, it's gonna be a fight, and you're gonna be in debt unless you have a scholarship. They don't tell you after college of the debt that you're going to have, and then how hard it is of the competition to find a job to get the experience. Because when you get out, most jobs be like, we need 2 years experience. Well, if you're not hiring me, how can I get experience? So we've been trained, and I promise y'all it's gonna flow. We've been trained to think of this relationship and of this life as a fantasy. And my whole point of this is looking back, because I really did not want to tell this story, but I told y'all I was going to spill out this stuff that's in my brain. And I was like, I had no clue or didn't realize how much trauma I've witnessed and experienced, either full onset to me or my point of view. In some way, somehow, I'm a part of it. Because somebody else is getting the full blown trauma and I'm somewhere on the sidelines, somehow connected to it, watching it from my point of view. And it's an experience for me, because we've been taught, especially as African Americans, it's life. You're gonna have to suck it up. You're gonna have to keep going. It's life. Suck it up, move on, grin and bear it. You're okay. You're not allowed to have feelings, because, or as you hear, especially for men, happy wife, happy life. No, both of y'all need to be happy, which is why you see domestic violence, and I'm seeing a lot of domestic violence with females too here recently. I don't know if I want to talk about those two stories. Like, I'm kind of sitting back watching, where their family was telling them, like, leave the girls alone, leave the ladies alone, they're no good for you. And the men didn't want to listen, and then now they're no longer here. And any man who dealing with that, go put paperwork. If it's domestic, you will feel safe. I tell anybody, you better call the police. They be quick to call the police on you. Why you not quick to call the police? Who? Go get a paper trail. Go get a paper trail. What's wrong with y'all? Domestic violence is domestic violence. I don't care if it's from a woman or a man. Go get a paper trail. Get out of that. That's not healthy. That's not love. Which, again, oh girl, because it's better to have a piece of man than no man at all. I promise you it's going to fit. So, we have been taught as African Americans to deal with domestic violence, that work it out. Because with Desmond and Christy, I saw a lot of people saying, it's 11 years, you better work it out. No. If I have exhausted all options and I'm not happy, no, baby, I'm not holding on to something that's killing me. I'm not going to allow my garden to be overtaken by weeds and it's no longer producing fruit. I tell anybody, any friend, any man that I have been involved with, baby, if I do not make you happy and your happiness is elsewhere, I support that. I support that. You're not going to get that rah-rah for me. No, love. No. The only thing I ask is tell me when you're not happy so you can go your other way. But most of the times humans don't know how to do that, because they're so used to the rah-rah. And so you hurt people. And then here comes the rah-rah. But no, well, not with me. You just lose me. I lose respect for you. And you just completely lose me. I support your happiness. Go be happy. Any man I've dealt with, they will tell you, I walk away. Bye. I support your happiness, because I'm not for everybody. And I ain't trying to be. I'm not trying to be. I don't care who you are. And that's not just romantic. Regular friendship. Family. Baby, if I am not a part of your happiness, we no longer are able to commune together, and able to understand each other, and able for this to work. We are no longer feeding each other. There's no fruit being produced. We have outgrown each other, baby. I support it. I do. Anyway, as African Americans, we are also taught that no matter what, you protect your parents. No matter what. I can guarantee you most African American children have seen domestic violence in their house by either their father, their mother doing it to their father, or somebody else coming in the house and creating violence, and havoc. And abuse is not just physical. It's verbal, it's emotional, and it's mental. So it's more than one way for a child to be abused, even by their parents. So remember I told y'all, I promise it's all gonna tie together. Y'all know I'm a Capricorn and it gotta make sense for me. I remember I told y'all it was 3 people in my Sunday school class who did not like me because they were adopted by their grandmother, because it was considered unsafe per their parents, per child services, for them to be with their parents. Right? So these 3 children, it was 3 children, it's 2 girls and a boy. So we're gonna name one Tiffany, the other Ayana, and the boy's name is gonna be Simon. So this story is mainly about Tiffany. So Tiffany was the one who was Tiffany was a chocolate baby. She was the one who had the jerry curl, and then you can see like the end standing up because it didn't take well. But I can tell, like, whoever did her hair, it was either they were trying, they were new to it, because they didn't do a good job, because you should not see straight ends in her hair when she got her jerry curl, which was like perm, or it was maybe she didn't agree to get it cut it short. I don't know, but you shouldn't see straight ends when you got a jerry curl. As I said, y'all charging $1,000 or more for a Gina curl is scamming, because that's a jerry curl, child. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Or y'all saying, people are saying, no, it's a perm. It's a perm. Girl, that's a jerry curl. It's a jerry curl. Anyway, so both girls, her and Ayana, had jerry curls. Of course, Simon did not. He didn't, because men wore jerry curls back then too. But so Simon did not. He had a low fade. So anyway, you can tell, like, I understood, as I told y'all, like, why she felt like my life was better. And the whole time, just because I lived in a 2-story house, and just because I had Kmart clothes and my clothes matched and it wasn't hand-me-downs, didn't mean I wasn't going through something traumatic in my house. Even though I was. But she had no idea. All you saw was a girl who came in with these new Kmart dresses, and her hair was combed. Her hair is long, which is not something that I can control. And you're thinking my life is so much better because when you pass by, all you see is a 2-story house. Which is why you never know what goes on behind closed doors. Which is why, shout out to my grandma, you never be jealous of what somebody else got, because you don't know what they had to do to get it and what they got to do to keep it. So yeah, that was the thing. That was her issue with me. So most of the time, even if I tried to be nice to the 3 of them, I got pushback. It was like, girl, you know what I'm saying? Because you automatically felt like I was the rich girl and my life was better. And I'm over here going through trauma, and I'm talking about them. I'm over here going through trauma, and got a bad life, and you got it made, and you have no clue. No clue. So after the Sunday school secret, after the powwow, and you figured out, like, oh, okay, I know what's her secret with knowing how to read better, you started reading. So you were able, and then also, my grandaunt was wrong, because she should have gave them chance. I don't care if they read slow or not. You should have gave them opportunities to read. So new teachers was giving them the opportunity to read. So now you don't feel on the outside, because you already feel that way anyway. Because a lot of times kids are not telling you what they are going through traumatic wise, because they're told to grin and bear it, right? So, or we're told because that's your mama, that's your daddy, that's your sister, that's your brother, that's your cousin. You use that little title thing as an excuse to accept BS treatment, or you know, yeah, to accept BS treatment. Because that's your family. You should take whatever this person is dishing out. Not me. Sorry. Not gonna do it. Actually, I'm not sorry. Not gonna do it. I'm gonna wish you the best though, but I'm not gonna take the bad treatment. Just saying. God bless you. Anyway, so yeah, so it was more like I could tell because, and most of the people who have been through traumatic experiences, you kind of trauma bond. You kind of trauma bond. You kind of bond. You kind of, your spidey senses go off where it's like, you can recognize. It's almost like a mark. It's almost like you know how Avatar, like they sync on it, like with the with their right animal and all this other stuff. Like you can, it's almost like a sense, like you too. You can tell because a lot of the people who have been through trauma, depending on the degree of trauma, pretty much almost act the same. Socially, mentally, most of the times, especially for me, I can tell when some females have been through some kind of abuse, because we're brutally honest. Because the person who abused us 9 times out of 10 is somebody we trusted, and so now we don't trust you. So we make you work hard for it. So we will believe that you really want to be here. You're gonna work for it. Because if you don't want to be here, why are you even playing? Because people do that. But anyway, yeah, so I could tell, like, I could sense the trauma on them. And I could tell. So you were guarded, and your mechanism of defense is to be mean, is to be nasty. You know what I'm saying? And then also to be envious because you're kids. And that's what kids do. We see stuff on TV, and it's parents' jobs or guardians' jobs to tell us, i.e., if this is real or not, or this is fake or not, or to basically describe and tell us how to be responsible human beings and how to maneuver and manage all the emotions and things that we are learning as we go. Because all of us out here winging this bitch, to be totally honest. We all out here winging life because it changed on a constant, and you don't know how to handle things until you're in it. It's so easy for people to be like, if I was you, you're not. Shut up. You're not. But when I can give my advice, people be like, you be talking all the time. Because, baby, I've experienced what you've experienced on the emotional and the mental side, which is how I can speak on it. People are, oh, you've never been married. Sure haven't, but I've watched married women, and I had a lot of married people come to me for my advice. Why? Because I'm honest. And I've also had my grandmother and my mother, who were married, tell me certain things about marriage. I'm also listening to a young lady who is currently married telling me things about marriage. And you will be amazed of the things that she say. Because y'all still fantasize this stuff. Anyway. So yeah, I can see the trauma on them, and I can feel it. I can feel it. I can understand. Like I can just feel it. Right? And I try my very best to adjust to people's trauma. Which is why it's called trauma bond. And then also it's like just having empathy because I've experienced it. You know, like, because I've been told on repeat, be quiet, like you should be over that by now. And it's like, what kind of BS is that to say as a kid who was sexually assaulted, to tell them to get over it? My experience of intimacy was given to me by my stepfather starting at 7. How do you get over that? Enlighten me. Exactly. Anyway, so I could tell that, you know what I'm saying, like it was a lot of things on their plate and a lot of things they have seen in their short lifespan at this moment. Because again, we're no more. I know we had to be no more than 11, 12. 13, somewhere in there. I know we had to be no more than that. If that. If that. So I can tell, like I can look at them and tell, like you can see it in her eyes, like this baby. And I'm talking about Tiffany had bags under her eyes, so you're not getting adequate sleep because you don't feel safe. And sometimes, because I even notice with my son when we go other places, and even with me, even when I go other places and I'm in a hotel, my body doesn't relax like that. My body didn't relax in my mom's house. So limited amount of time, like people didn't understand. Even my mom didn't understand. She would say the house didn't do anything to you, so why? I don't understand the issue. And I got why she didn't understand, because trauma did happen to her in the house. So I don't get why she didn't understand, because trauma did happen to her in her house. But I guess it was easier for her to kind of push it to the side, because there's a lot of times and things that my mind will block and lock, to be totally honest, for me to survive mentally. So maybe she kind of pushed her trauma to the side and kept going, because that's what she was told to do. Truth be told, descendants of slaves. Y'all don't know. Y'all didn't have a clue. What if y'all wouldn't be told by master what to do? Once we were able to be free, it was like, what we do? Especially the ones who were born and raised on plantations. The ones who had experienced freedom and were stolen and brought there to work, you know what I'm saying? They knew what it was like to be free. They knew what it was like to function and have a life. Those who were born and raised on plantations was like, so what do we do? They don't know discipline. You got it from your slave masters. Black people don't know how to celebrate each other because the slave masters didn't teach you to celebrate each other. They taught you to be in competition with each other, which is why we're always in competition with each other, because y'all don't know nothing better. So when somebody's trying to teach you something different, learn to unlearn, y'all don't want to do that. Yeah, anyway. So I could tell. So anyway, when I'm trying to be cool with them, it wasn't going. Anyway, so in this story time, in love with a white boy, I think I called it In Love with a White Boy. Ryan's aunt, I'm gonna give her a name because I just called her aunt in Ryan's story, in that story. Ryan is my ex-boyfriend, but his aunt, I'm gonna give her a name, Miss Honey, in this story. And those who watch Matilda, the reason why I'm giving her that name, everybody loved her. Everybody loved her. Love her down, because she just had that spirit. And it wasn't just one kid, one race. All the kids love her. Like Miss Honey, all the kids love Miss Honey and Matilda. They love her like that. Like, she just had that spirit for children, like, real talk. All the kids love her like that. All the kids love her like that. So we're going to call her Miss Honey. So Tiffany, at this one point in time, I don't remember where we were. I think me and Miss Honey was in Walmart at this point in time. Me and Ryan, I don't know if we were still dating or not. I can't remember. I think we were. Or maybe we wasn't. I don't know. But me and Miss Honey used to hang out at this one point in time. I remember we had went to... Where did we go? I think we went to Walmart, or we went somewhere. And we went and we sat down. We was eating. And people was looking at me crazy because I didn't want anything. Actually, I did. But I was already getting in trouble. And catching a lot of flack from people. And some of the people in my family about dating a white boy. About dating a white boy. So it was an issue. And so she was like, you don't want anything to eat? And I was like, no, I'm fine. Hungry as I'll get out. But I told her, like, no, I'm fine. So I'm sitting there with her with no food. And she's sitting there eating a BLT, even though she had offered. So the black people walking by looking, because it looks like she's starving me, and the whole time she had offered. Now it makes sense of why they was looking like that. Because it looks like she's starving, and then it's like, I'm a kid. You have no idea. Like, I know this lady, I trust this lady, and I'm with this lady. Anyway, me and Miss Honey had a rapport, of course. Even after Ryan, we still have a rapport. Like, I still pass by her house and see, like, I could catch her at the mailbox, you know, like to speak to her or whatever and see how she's doing. Even his uncle, who is brutally honest, I absolutely love him. He has no, no filter. He will say whatever he want to say when he want to say it. I love that about him. I love that about him. He actually knew my mom because he drove trucks. I definitely think he's retired now, but I love the fact that he was brutally honest and would say whatever he wanted to say when he wanted to say it. He didn't care about your feelings. If he liked you, he did. If he didn't, it's like, you're going to get whatever I say that come out of this mouth. Anyway. So, anyway, me and Miss Honey had a rapport. So, Tiffany saw me and Miss Honey out in public. And so, she was like, because, again, everybody loved Miss Honey. So, she, of course, ran up to Miss Honey because to her, it's like, girl, you know her too. You know her too? Like, you just got everything, is what I read on her face. Because it was like, how you know her? You know what I'm saying? And I keep telling people, I know a lot of people. And sometimes I'm connected to people. And then I'm just a vibe. I'm really a dope person when you get to know me. I'm not going to let you play in my face. But I'm a dope person when you get to know me. And when I love you hard. I got you. I take care of you. I battle for you. I got everything you need, everything you want when you need it. But when you play with me, you can get the fuck on. It's that simple. So the look on her face, it was like, oh, you got the house, you got the clothes, you got the safety, you got all this, and you got Miss Honey too. Oh, so it was like, I was standing by Miss Honey, and how she walked up, it was like a, you know, kind of, you know how you, how can I explain it? Well, y'all know. You know how a girl, you can tell your dude like another girl, or another girl gets a reaction from your dude, and so when he sees her, like his face kind of light up. You can see it, like you pay attention to your man's eyes, you can tell. Sorry. you can tell, like you can tell when a dude, like a lot of people are saying, for I'm gonna keep referencing them, Christy and Desmond, how it was like he's been gone a long time. So because people are looking, like, in his eyes. It's like, bro, look dead in the face. He looked dead in his eyes. Look in his eyes. That's a true statement. Eyes are the windows to the soul. Anyway, yeah, so it was like, you know how like a girl would be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can tell, like, they're on their way out, and it's this other girl he really want to get to know, or really want to talk to, or this girl give a vibe to, and you be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So the girl be like, oh, nope. Anytime she around, you not gonna be close to her, you not gonna vibe with her. It's nothing. I'm here, look at me, it's me type situation. That's how Tiffany was when it came to Miss Honey. So literally, she kind of like, because we're standing there, we're not real close, but we're standing almost shoulder to shoulder, and she was like, Miss Honey. Miss Honey. And it was like, you know, so you kind of gave me a push. And a lot of times people don't realize, like, I tell people all the time, a lot of people think because I'm short that I'm scared to fight. No, ho, I'm scared of me, because I know I have a lot of built up anger. You know the part on Avengers when dang, what's his name, Bruce tell Cap, he was like, what's your secret? No, he was like, I need you to get angry. And he said, that's my secret. I'm always angry. He just controls it. Yeah. It's a lot of times where I can show my, but I can show my ass, but I choose not to. It's like, let me just think about this. How is this going to affect me in the end? And I learned that early. Trauma will do that, especially when you have to grow up fast. Anyway. So I kind of, brushed it off because it's like, at this point, girl, I'm sick of you. I already tried to be nice to you. I know the situation that you got going on because my granny is the type of person where it's like you be nice to people, like you give them grace, and it's like it's only so many times I'm gonna let you grace and mercy slide by on this. You feel me? And so it's like at this point you doing it on purpose. Like I haven't done anything to you. I ain't talking about you. I ain't laughing at you like everybody else in this church. The other kids, I ain't doing none of that. I'm trying to be nice to you. I'm trying to have an understanding because that's the way my granny taught me to be when it comes down to people, to understand why and how they move the way that they move, right? But don't let them play in your face. And it's like, girl, at this point, you playing in my face. And if you try me one more time, I'm going to hurt your feelings. That push was the last straw for me. Because I have tried repeatedly, on repeat, to be nice to you. So, you're, of course, they're excited to see Miss Honey. And it's just her and Ayana. I don't see Simon at this time. But they're excited to see Miss Honey. And I ain't tripping on that because, like I said, everybody love Miss Honey. And I give them that. She's a dope vibe. So, yeah, I'm going to let you love on her because when she see people that she knows, she love on them. Regardless of race. Everybody's the same in her eyes. So yeah, so I'm going to let you love on her. So she was like, what you doing here? And so she was like, yeah, I'm with Angel. We're out spending time together. Oh, I'm going to boast. When you trying me, I'm going to boast. Please believe. Because I keep telling you, either you can flow with me and be a vibe, or you can go about your business. And I'm not going to trip about you going about your business. But if you vibing with me and you lose it, you feel it. Anyway. So it's kind of hard for Tiffany to be, to realize, like, what? And so she's like, yeah, I'm here with Angel. And so she's like, Angel, I love Angel. Angel's a sweet girl. I am. To the people who are sweet to me. If you're not sweet to me, I'm going to let you know. You can get the fuck on now. Like, for real. You can get on. Anyway. So, it was like, she kind of looking. And I'm looking at her like, I was like, yeah, I know her. I know Tiffany. Me and Tiffany go to the same church. Oh, so that made Miss Honey's face light up because, again, I used to go to church with Miss Honey. That's how me and Ryan met, is through Miss Honey, because Miss Honey was like, my nephew, he don't have nobody really to talk to, so you sent your nephew down. I was like, yeah, he come down to play basketball on their court because we playing basketball behind their church. Nobody was using it. We can. At the point in time, the pastor was letting us do it. So that's how I met Ryan. Yeah, girl. I spent time with her, be in her house, chilling. Know her dog. The dog that I love name was Susie. Susie was a little Yorkie, gray and black. She was almost deaf and almost blind. She was partially blind. She was legally blind in one eye. The real talk. But she was a sweet dog. Most of the time she couldn't go nowhere. She was a lap dog, but she was sweet as all get out. And then she started getting more dogs. And yeah, anyway. So yeah, girls spent time with their family in the house, chilling. Especially most of the time at her aunt at his aunt's house with Miss Honey, chilling after school. So we have a relationship. We have a rapport. Yeah, girl. That's why you gotta be careful. My granny used to say, you'll never know who. Be careful. Be careful how you treat people. Anyway, so yeah. So it was like, yeah, girl. So after she was like, oh, okay. She was like, yeah, I love Angel. We have a rapport. So now you looking, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay. So the next time we come to church is, hey, Angel. I know you fucking lying. I know you fucking lying. Girl, No, baby. No. This whole time, your representative has shown me exactly who you are. Even though I know it's trauma-based, it showed me exactly who you are because I'm the type of person where I can separate it. I don't have to treat you bad if you're not treating me bad because of my trauma. You just not going to play in my face. If I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to be bothered. It's like, no, thank you, or whatever, etc. But, girl, no. You're using your trauma to hurt people, to be nasty, to be mean. Just so now you know that I have a rapport with Miss Honey. Now you want to talk to me? Oh no, no, baby. That lets me know the type of person that you are, and I don't want no parts. I don't wish bad on you. I don't want you to go through no trauma, no more trauma. But you just not my vibe, babe. You just not my vibe. Once you show me who your character is, like what you do, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm good on it. I'm good on it, right? So I'm like, mm-mm. And so she was like, Miss Honey said you was a nice person. I said, I was a nice person before you knew me and Miss Honey were cool. You know what I'm saying? I was a nice person before then. You didn't want any part of that. And I said, so I'm okay. You don't have to be nice to me because you know I know Miss Honey. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna tell her anything like that because that ain't her business. That ain't her experience. I was like, but it's a no for me. So it was right back to what you were doing previous, right? So lo and behold, the next Sunday, you don't show up. Tiffany, nor Ayana, nor Simon. Which was odd because their foster mother, grandmother, didn't play about them being in church. But you don't show up. And so we're in Sunday school, and then when we get to main church, basically, after Sunday school, before it starts, after what did they do? It wasn't called Praise and Worship, Child. What was it called? Because this is when the deacons would lead. The deacons would do like hymns. The deacons would do hymns, and then after the hymns, then we'll go on into service. Because it wasn't called Praise and Worship. Because y'all have gotten away from the deacons. Just keep my hand. Oh God, to glorify. Y'all got away from that. Because that's what they used to do is slavery. And that's how they used to communicate through songs, right? And y'all have gotten away from that. Charge to glorify. Yeah. Y'all don't do that no more. And because people got tired, people was like, baby, we don't want it. It's not funny. Because I was in a whole different church when the people was complaining, like, baby, we don't want the deacons to do this no more. We tired of that. Evolve. So the deacons, after they had did that, they were still doing this in my church at the time. They were still doing that. So after that, I don't know what it was called. I don't remember basically what it was called because it wasn't called Praise and Worship. Anyway, after that, so there's an announcement and the pastor comes and the pastor says, like, we're going to have a moment of silence because for those of you who don't know, Tiffany passed away last night. So I'm looking around like, what? Shocked. And it was like, so we're going to pray for the family. Almost got a lady name. We're going to pray for Sister Mother. We're going to pray for Sister Mother Boucher because at this point in time, like, we can't even imagine what she's going through. So I'm waiting for you to say, like, what happened? And at this point in time, like, I'm shocked because it's like, this is a young person. It's a young person. And this is the first young person that I know that's close to me that has passed away. And it's like, what happened? Like, I've seen kids get hurt, but I've never seen someone close to me pass away that young. So it's like, what happened? So we get home, and after church or whatever, we get home. And so when we get home, usually the routine once we got home, like, my mama started cooking the night before, which is why you see me cook certain things the day before, like Christmas or whatever. So like you do like your pies, your desserts or whatever, like the day before. You get that stuff set. You do your rice or whatever, and then your meat is supposed to be last, like your vegetables and all that stuff, and then your meat is last. Well, a lot of times, especially if we was doing greens or cabbage or whatever, or she was doing chicken and rice, she would throw that in her crock pot. The greens, she would do like the meat. She would boil the meat the day before, make sure like all the meat and all the seasonings come out of that, season her water, put her greens in there after she had done clean them and all that stuff, and then put the greens in. The greens will cook the night before, and then you just leave it on warm while you go to church, and you come back, and then let's eat. So this, particular time, like when she would come home, she would still having her slip. She would put on her bathrobe. She didn't have a muumuu. She had this bathrobe. She had a blue one, and then after the blue one, I think my sister and my brother, one of them, they bought her a green one, honey. So my mama stayed in the robe. So I was like, so this point in time, like afterwards, she called me upstairs. She was like, come upstairs so we could eat. Most of the time after church, baby, we ate. We would get our plate and we did not sit at the table. I would go to my room and she would go to her room, or she'll sit at the table by herself. This particular time, she was like, come get your, after you get undressed and get comfortable, come upstairs so we can eat. You can sit at the table with me because I want to talk to you. And I was like, okay. So as I told y'all, my mama used to explain things to me, which I absolutely love. There are certain things I wish she would decide differently on, but she would explain certain things to me. So I got comfortable and went upstairs, made my plate, and we both sitting at the table. And so she said, how close were you with Tiffany? And I said, not really close. Tiffany really didn't like me. And so she kind of turned her head and looked, and she was like, why? And I was like, this house, the Kmart clothes, my hair, my skin color. And for my mom, it was like, I think for her, because my mom was, i.e. to her, in her mind, darker than me. She was like this dark-skinned, unattractive person in her mind. As I told y'all, somebody told her she was ugly, and she believed that. Like, that embedded in her mind, and she believed it. And so it was like, for her, she would pray that her children would be nothing like her, meaning that we would go shopping, that we would be confident and feel like we're pretty, because she didn't want us to be teased like she was teased, according to her. And so to find out that I have the so-called standard of skin color, I got the long hair, and I'm in decent clothes in the house that you have, is causing your daughter to be bullied and to be teased. It's like, that's not what you pictured in your mind for something to be teased. I was like, yeah, she really didn't like me because the house, my hair, the clothes, she didn't like me. And so she was like, I don't understand. I said, I kind of do. And so she was like, you do? And I was like, yeah, I do. And I was like, your situation is worse than mine. So you think outside looking in that my situation is better. You have no idea what I'm going through in here. And so she kind of nodded her head. And then she was like, okay, so I want to talk to you. I want to explain what happened to her. And we need to have a conversation about it, And I was like, okay, well, what happened to her? And I was like, she was playing. She got hit by a car, because on my street, I've heard quite a few times where kids got hit by cars. Not like heard word of mouth, like we're standing and you hear the kids say, you hear the car say, ooh, and then you hear, ooh, because they got hit by a car. Quite a few times. Usually it was the same kid, to be totally honest. It was the same kid who used to come down for the summer to visit his grandmama. And it seemed like he used to get hit by a car every time, because he lived in the city, and then it's the country. It was like you running out of the street. I don't know why that boy got hit all the time. It seems like every summer he would come down, he got hit by a car, and he was no longer. The second time he didn't come back. He was alive, but he didn't come back down there, and I couldn't blame his parents. But I've heard it, so I know. I was like, she got hit by a car, which is why I'm saying, like, the trauma endured because I'm saying it like natural. She got hit by a car, like she was playing, she had an accident, like a natural thing, like it's a natural conversation. And she said, no, no, um, no, she got shot. And so at this point, I'm stunned because I'm like, she got shot. And I was like, what do you mean she got shot? Because at this point in time, now don't get me wrong, we got some little hoods. We got some little hood sections. We got some hoodlums down there who will do some crazy stuff. We've had some unalivings going down there. Like, you be like, what the? Like, it will make you look twice and think twice about the people that you know. Because two people in my class who were, I mean, they're my classmates, but they're sitting in jail for unaliving their girlfriends. And I'm looking at them like, because they were the quiet ones. The no, bruh. So it was like, I mean, so I'm not like oblivious to unaliving because it happens down there, but it's like very seldom and few. So it's like I'm trying to think, because it wasn't like, girl, she could be walking and get shot like it's a drive-by or something like that. Like in a big city, it's like she got shot. Wait, well, what are we talking about? I was like, oh, so somebody was playing with the gun in the house. And so she said, no, no, no. And I was like, okay, I'm confused. And so she said, well, her mom, her mom, um, her mom boyfriend. And then she paused. And I'm gonna have to call y'all back. Hold on. Okay, so I had to call y'all back. Anyway, where did I left off? Oh, I'm sitting at the table with my mom, and she was telling me like what happened to Tiffany. She told me Tiffany got shot. And so she got quiet, kind of. She was like, no, no, like, Tiffany was protecting her mom. Um, what happened? What happened? It's not funny because what's in my head is what had happened was what happened was Tiffany's mom was in an abusive relationship, and you were going back and forth. It wasn't Tiffany's father, it was a new dude. So you was going back and forth with him, and at this particular time, he had been beating on you and threatening to unalive you. But we grin and bear it, or we kind of just grin and bear it, like we kind of just deal with it. So basically, like she was just dealing with it, like I guess in her own certain way, trying to get away from it. But then again, he was comfortable, so like you forgive him, you have feelings for him, you kept letting him come back, in and out type situation. And this particular time, like he came with why I can't say that word. He came with a weapon. So, and when he came with a weapon, like he very much intended to use it, and he did use it. He was aiming at Tiffany's mom, but Tiffany's mom was about her mama, which was true. Backstory: there was a conversation where people were comparing moms in the church, whose mom was prettier, whose mom made the most money, etc., etc. And so Tiffany was like, I don't even want to be a part of that conversation because I don't play about my mama. In which I don't blame her, in which most daughters in our community don't play about their mama. You know what I'm saying? Whether good or bad, especially if that's the only present parent. Most of the time we don't play about our moms, right? I don't play about my mom either, even though we didn't have the ideal best relationship. I don't play about my mama either. And so I understood where she was coming from. And so she was like, I don't even want to play this game because
the other girls was throwing like low blows or whatever. And I'm the type of person where it's like it's a lot of stuff I ignore because it's like you want a reaction and I'm not gonna give you that. So the best way to beat you in this game is a game of wits is to ignore you because you're looking for a reaction. And the best reaction is to not give you one. So anyway, she didn't play by her mom, but she jumped in front of when he shot, she jumped in front of her mom to protect her mom. And so the bullet hit her instead of her mom and she didn't make it. She succumbed to the injuries. And my mom had tears rolling down her face because she said, I don't want you to ever feel like you have to go to that extreme to protect me. You don't you know, I like your mama can take care of herself. I don't want you to ever feel like you have to go to the extremes to protect me. At this point in time, because she hadn't started dating a trucker yet, Wolf. So she had no idea that I remembered my dad coming into my bedroom at 3 years old and me being 3 years old standing up to my dad because he had punched her in the face because she left out of the bedroom without his permission. He wanted her to come back to bed because she came to me because I was asking for water. And so I felt like it was my fault. And then I also felt like I had to stand up to him because it's like, you're not going to hit my mama no more. Number one, because you definitely not going to hit me. And I'm 3 and I remember this. I end up telling the story later on at the table and she realized I remembered because she gasped. It was like a, because I guess she assumed because I was 3, I wasn't going to remember that. No, I do. I remember standing up to my father at 3 years old because he punched my mom in the face. So when we're having this conversation, she doesn't realize that I remember protecting you from my father. And I guess that made her think, because Tiffany jumped in front of her mom. But, you know, in that situation or feeling like I didn't need to protect her. And it was like, even with Nightmare, the only reason I said that, yeah, I can live with him was because you brought him there. You brought him there and made me decide instead of getting rid of the nigga. So it was interesting to me where she was saying like, don't feel like you have to protect me like that. But I had already had, you know what I'm saying? I had already had. And so, she was crying and I let her go through her emotions and we didn't talk anything else about it. And so I was wondering and I was like, I wonder if Miss Honey knows the situation. And so I was sitting at Miss Honey's house and we were just talking and I asked her and I said, did you know about Tiffany? Because Tiffany had ran up and hugged her while we were out. And so she was like, what about Tiffany? And I was like, Tiffany Tiffany's dead. Like Tiffany was unalived by her mom's boyfriend. And so she was like, what? What? She was like, no, 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 you're lying. No, you're lying. I said, no, I'm serious. And so at this point in time, yeah, at this point in time, she was like, do you know where Tiffany lives? Do you know where she lives? And I did. Like I knew where she lived. And I was like, yeah, I do. I know where they live. And so she was like, we gotta go, we gotta go. So we end up getting in the car, me and Miss Honey, and going to Tiffany's house. And at this point in time, y'all, it's nighttime. It's nighttime. Well, it's getting close to nighttime. It's nighttime. And so she went and knocked on the door. And when she went and knocked on the door, Ayana came out and Ayana just fell in her arms. And I can just see it. She just fell in her arms because, as I said, everybody loved Miss Honey. So she just fell in her arms. And I couldn't imagine what Ayana was dealing with because this was all at that house. Like it was at that house. And so even when we pulled up, like you can see like the caution tape from the crime scene. It was just a lot to think about and endure, even from a point of view, even though it didn't directly affect me, but from a point of view, it did because I knew of her and then also like the trauma that I'm going through at home, right? And so was going through at home and had endured at home and having the new trauma that was coming on the way from Wolf. the trucker Wolf. So it's like, so watching Ayana fall in Miss Honey's arms, and she walked in the house and closed the door, and I'm in the car and I'm bawling, 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 because it's like that. Tiffany didn't deserve that, regardless of how you felt about me. You didn't deserve that. You didn't deserve to be or have to be the protector of your mom. You were the child. Your mom should have been protecting you, and you should have took the precautions and took every step to get rid of him, because they had said like he had been threatening over and over, like he was going to unalive her. He was going to take her out. If I can't have you, nobody else can. I've heard that quite a few times. And so it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, make the paper trail, even though a lot of times the paper trails don't do a lot, but it's just the simple point of having it in place, because sometimes it works, y'all. So it was just I guess for me, it was the breaking point of watching Ayana fall in Miss Honey's arms. So she was in there for a good 20 to 30 minutes. And I saw Miss Honey walk back out, and Ayana hugged her again. And you can tell, like, she's crying. She's getting in the car. Her eyes are red. Her face is red. And she's bawling. She's saying, Angel, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, I need you to sit here for a minute, because I don't need you to drive this way. I just need you to sit here for a minute. And, just sit here for a minute. And she's sitting there and she's crying and she's saying, she's constantly saying, that baby, that baby, that baby. Yeah, because at this point in time, Tiffany's not a, arm baby, but she's a child. She's a child. And the simple fact that she had to endure that because she was protecting her mama. And I think I'm going to title this For Her Mom. For her mama. For her mama. And it's just so crazy, like looking back and thinking back, like how old I am now, and thinking like this baby, this young girl who was around my age, was unalived because she was protecting her mom from an abusive boyfriend. And I couldn't imagine what her mom is going through, dealing with that, if she had any guilt, because I didn't know her mom like that. And like I said, she was staying with, her grandmother. So I don't know, like, the extent of the relationship. I just know that most of the time, regardless whether the parents are good or bad, when it's your only parent, it's like, oh, I don't play about my mama. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't play about my mama, which most of us don't. And it just made me think, and I said I wasn't gonna tell this story because of the trauma connected to it. And every time there's trauma connected to it, like, I'm always rubbing my hands together, or like, it's a eerie feeling of reliving it, of, and my mama not noticing, like, baby, I already protected you. You already put me in that situation. So, and not even realizing it. Yeah. I just felt like, even though I don't have a lot of like viewers or whatever, subscribers, I just felt like all this stuff needs to be told. And I felt like, and I'm going to say her real name, Anitra's story needed to be told. I just felt like her story needed to be told, because there are so many young girls out there who are protecting their mothers from abusive situations, and there's girls out there who are protecting their fathers from abusive situations, because that is now becoming out more prevalent, that men are being abused by women in domestic situations, because women don't want to let go. Or you setting men up, and it's like, please, if you are in any type of domestic situation, y'all get a paper trail, find a way where you can skip states, not town, states. states. Find a way where you can get states, find states, do research and see where there is domestic help, where they will help you. They will help you fight back, because no child, not even you, deserve to go through anything that traumatic, that horrible, that horrific on a constant basis. So yeah. Rest in peace, Anitra. I love you the most because you're definitely the dopest in real life. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Hopefully that sounds fine. I don't really want to tell this story. My point was to be. I don't want to hold this mic. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. I don't want to hold the mic. Because if I, well, not necessarily, like, put it here, because it'll be like this. And I don't want it to be right there under my throat. Maybe I could put it on my jacket. Let's see. That might work. Oh, it might work. We'll see. Anyway, no. It's going away from my mouth. Let's see. Something for y'all bloopers. Okay, that's better. That should be. It should cancel out this heater. Anyway, so sinus is starting to take over. Sorry.
We don't get away from it. Hold on. I don't want to put it on. Hold on. See if I can. We don't get away from it. I don't like the way that look. We kind of just grin and bear it. Oh, that's not too low.